These Texas-sized wreckers on the scene now. They're about ready to connect and try to pull the vehicles apart and also make off with them. The highway department has just showed up because extensive damage has been caused to both the rails on the left and right sides of Interstate 35 southbound right over the Howard Lane overpass. So there will be a lot of work yet to be done here as we continue to clean up and about ready in, I'd say, the next 20 minutes to clear up Interstate 35 southbound. Northbound I-35 still stop and go. Reporting live in Red Rover, I'm Frankie Rodriguez.
And officials say that there was one minor injury reported associated with that accident at Howard Lane and I-35. Flash flood watch in effect for the Hill Country tonight. More rain tonight in the Austin area. Rain again tomorrow, according to Bill Heckey. He'll have a live update at 6:15.
KLBJ News Time at the Tone, 6 o'clock Sports Talk at 6:30 with Tom Dorr and Phil Miller.
This is The World Tonight. Good evening. I'm Douglas Edwards, CBS News. It was pomp and ceremony in Venice as the 7 leaders of the major industrialized nations opened their annual economic summit amid the glory and splendor of ancient Venice.
This is Terrence Smith in Venice. The first economic news here broke even before the official opening of the 7-Nation Summit. In a private meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Nakasone, President Reagan announced the partial lifting of sanctions imposed on Japanese electronics just 6 weeks ago. Later, the president explained his decision.
We said from the very beginning that when they returned to abiding by the agreement that we thought we had, we would lift the sanctions. Well, they have started, and the amount of tariff that we have removed is just proportionate.
On a separate issue, the president denied that the United States was trying to bluff Iran by warning against deployment of its new Silkworm anti-ship missiles along the shores of the Persian Gulf. But for the second straight day, senior White House officials said the United States would consider deployment a hostile and provocative act. Chief of Staff Howard Baker said the increased U.S. naval presence in the Gulf was necessary both to protect the free flow of shipping and to counter Soviet attempts to expand their influence in the Gulf waters. Terrence Smith, CBS News, with the president in Venice.
Paint your house outside, paint your house inside. Either way, nothing says new like a fresh coat of paint. And no one says savings like Sherwin-Williams at our annual house paint sale. Sherwin-Williams. Make your house look like new with house paint values like A100 exterior flat latex, just $10.99 a gallon. Super Paint exterior flat latex, just $13.99.
When you do it yourself, don't do it on yourself. Ask Sherwin-Williams.
Sale ends June 27th.
A true story.
We were in Sunshine Key on the Florida Keys. We were fishing from the bridge and somebody broke into our motorhome and stole approximately $140 worth of cash. It was within sight of us. We just didn't see him get into it and get out of it.
So if you had just happened to turn around at the right moment, you might have seen something.
Definitely, but we weren't anticipating any problems. This day we got burned.
It could happen to you. So when you're on vacation, don't carry cash. Carry American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them.
The Iran-Contra hearings resumed on Capitol Hill today with the beauteous Fawn Hall on the stand, part-time model, full-time secretary to Oliver North when he was still operating in the basement of the White House. Deborah Potter reports.
Fawn Hall described herself as a good and loyal secretary and said she never questioned her boss, Oliver North, when she helped him destroy stacks of White House documents last November when the Iran-Contra affair came to light. So many documents, the shredder couldn't handle them.
The bag had become full, and as I was shredding it comes into a tunnel and it jammed, yes.
That same night, she altered memos to take out all references to providing aid to the Contras.
I felt a little bit of uneasiness when he asked me to do it, but again, as I've stated, I believe in Colonel North, and I know that there must have been a good reason why he was asking me to do this, and I did as I was told.
Hall said when she later discovered some of the altered documents on her desk, she smuggled them out of the White House, inside her boots and under her clothes, and gave them to Oliver North. Deborah Potter, CBS News on Capitol Hill.
In Venice, the traveling White House expressed little interest in the Iran-Contra hearings, at least as far as the president is concerned. But the First Lady spoke out a bit as she left Venice for Stockholm to investigate the drug situation there.
This is Jacqueline Adams with the First Lady in Stockholm. Nancy Reagan left the tranquility of Venice this morning and immediately re-entered the political fray. En route to Stockholm, she parried reporters' questions about the Iran-Contra hearings for the first time. The First Lady said she watches the televised hearings sporadically and does not think the scandal will harm the president's legacy. In Stockholm, 50 to 100 well-organized anti-American demonstrators followed Mrs. Reagan from the Vilunda High School to her hotel. The First Lady said she did not see the protesters and proceeded with her anti-drug crusade on schedule. At a concert by Artists Against Narcotics, she danced and sang.
We are the world. We are the children.
But even 4,000 miles away, the political problems the Reagans left behind could not be forgotten. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, with the First Lady in Stockholm.
We're saving our own lives.
The World Tonight continues in 1 minute.
Tradition, pride, and dedication to quality. That's the Smucker's commitment, and the reason for this very special offer. You'll receive the elegant Wedgwood lead crystal preserve jar for just $21.95, plus proof of purchase from 2 18-ounce jars of Smucker's strawberry preserves. Look for details at the Smucker's display in your supermarket. With a name like Smucker's, it has to be good.
Here in New England, winter sort of reaches out its icy fingers and shakes you all over. Thank goodness for my Burnham boiler. Keeps my place warm no matter what. Yep, the folks at Burnham make oil and gas boilers right, like their XG 2000 gas and V1 oil models. Highly efficient, dependable, and awful good on your wallet. Visit or call your licensed plumbing, heating, cooling contractor now for special values during National Super Value Days. You can trust him to do the job right.
Attorney General Meese has announced the first rules to be put into effect as part of the administration's anti-AIDS campaign. That story from Rita Braver.
Attorney General Edwin Meese says that within the next few months, the Immigration Service will begin AIDS tests for all immigrants, including aliens applying under the amnesty program, applicants for citizenship, and refugees.
Those who test positive under this program will be denied entry to the United States or to legalized residency, as the case may be.
The policy is already drawing fire from AIDS activists. Just as controversial, Meese's announcement that beginning immediately, all federal prisoners will be tested for AIDS when they enter and leave prison. Alvin Bronstein of the American Civil Liberties Union says the policy seems to have raised as many questions as it answers.
They have not thought through what they do with the results of these tests. Will they segregate all of these people?
In fact, no decision has been made on isolating prisoners. As for departing inmates who test positive for AIDS, the chief probation officer and their districts will be notified, but it's unclear who will share this information. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
The Supreme Court voted 6-3 today to uphold a rule limiting Social Security disability benefits to people unable to work because of medical problems. The World Tonight returns after this.
Life is full of changes, and State Farm is there.
We can't clean out this garage.
Why not?
We'd have to throw away too many memories.
Yeah. Remember when Jenny rode this tricycle?
Look around you. If you see your insurance needs have changed, auto, home, life, or health, see a State Farm agent for a family insurance checkup. The advice is free, and the decisions are yours.
And like a good neighbor. What's this?
That's a hula hoop.
State Farm is there.
You don't have to be a professional athlete to get athlete's foot. I'm Patrick Moran, publisher of the America's Cup Sailing magazine, and running for deadlines can be as torturous on your feet as sailing stars and stripes in heavy winds. I can't stop for itching and burning, so I use Tenactin, recommended #1 by doctors and pharmacists. Sure, I'm an authority on sailing, but for athlete's foot, I turn to a higher authority, Tenactin.
Fast-actin Tenactin, the professional's cure for athlete's foot. Use only as directed.
Stocks higher today. The Dow Jones Industrial's up 25.5 points, closing around 2352. The average price up 40 cents on the New York Exchange. The volume there, 136 million shares. Wall Street on this World Tonight. The new immigration rules are going into effect now, and for all they may do for the future, they're causing problems in agriculture. The latest example, the strawberry fields of the Northwest. John Blackstone reports.
In Washington state, the governor's office is considering using the National Guard to help bring in the harvest. In Oregon, the governor thinks prison inmates might be used. In both states, strawberries are already rotting in the fields and other fruit crops are threatened, from cherries this month to apples in the fall. The hard job of picking fruit is routinely done by thousands of illegal workers who sneak over the border from Mexico. But this year, the number daring to enter the United States has dropped sharply because of the new Immigration Reform Act. That act provides penalties for farmers who hire illegal workers, but the farmers are hiring anyway. In fact, they're fighting to get the few pickers who have come north. In theory, keeping out foreign workers should provide jobs for Americans. But Oregon growers who have tried to hire unemployed Americans say it doesn't work. American pickers are almost impossible to find. Lawmakers say more time is needed to adjust to the new law. The only adjustment, according to growers, will be in consumer prices, which will rise. John Blackstone, CBS News, Washington County, Oregon.
The sound of the faithful today in Poland, a sound that will fill that nation for 7 days as Pope John Paul visits the country he was born in and loves so much. Mark Phillips reports from Warsaw.
Today, on his third visit to his homeland as Pope, John Paul II made clear how he thinks the deep wounds of the martial law period can be healed. The Pope told Communist Party leader Wojciech Jaruzelski that all Poles had to be part of the public process. Remember man, he said. Remember his rights to association and to express his own opinions. A not very thinly veiled reference to the banned Solidarity trade union movement. Jaruzelski said Poles should indeed feel they were part of the system, but that the system was a socialist one. The state's authority was not in question. Yet, despite the differences in approach, there was an air of reconciliation between the two men. They both want something from this visit. In order to get the people to support his economic reforms, Jaruzelski needs the backing of the Pope, whose immense popularity was again evident today. For his part, John Paul wants full legal status for the Church in Poland. That would open the way for full diplomatic relations between Poland and the Vatican, the first such recognition in the Soviet bloc. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Warsaw.
The World Tonight. More CBS News after this message.
Your lawn needs protection from fire ants. Call ABC Pest Control today at 454-2725 about their new long-term fire ant control program. Other methods of fire ant control are short-term and only partially effective. This new program from ABC Pest Control guarantees control. Each identifiable nest is located and treated with insecticidal gas that kills all life stages of ants in the colony. Your yard is free of fire ants and ready for your family to enjoy immediately. To ensure long-lasting protection, bait containing an insect growth regulator will slowly kill additional nests that have not yet become identifiable. Then ABC Pest Control will return to treat your lawn every other month from now through October to prevent ants from other areas from invading your lawn. This program is based on a one-year contract for long-lasting, safe, and guaranteed control. Get rid of those fire ants for good. Call ABC Pest Control today at 454-2725. That's 454-2725.
Brought to you by...
Datelines and headlines in the world tonight. Washington, the question, should you pay to see the Statue of Liberty? The House of Representatives says no. If President Reagan signs the bill, the federal government loses $1 million in revenue, but you get in free. London, chaos at the docks and airports as civil servants go on a 2-day strike for a 15% pay increase. Moscow, the former head of the CIA pokes around the Soviet bugs in the new U.S. Embassy and sees some drastic modification is necessary there. A report from John Sheehan.
James Schlesinger's report to Secretary of State George Shultz will be a scathing assessment of American bungling that gave Soviet intelligence an irresistible opportunity. The Soviets took the opportunity, implanting eavesdropping devices during construction of the new U.S. Embassy in Moscow. And they almost got away with it. The Russian spy technology was so advanced that American tests failed to detect it. Only the chance development of a new American detection device led to the discovery that the embassy office building was honeycombed with bugs. But Schlesinger will not recommend that the unoccupied building be torn down. His plan is to leave much of the embassy as it is, bugs and all, and rebuild only those parts that will house sensitive embassy activities. Even the limited rebuilding, according to Schlesinger, will cost American taxpayers a lot of money on top of the $150 million already invested.
Now, I think that one should recognize that a fundamental change of this sort will not be inexpensive. It will be in the many tens of millions of dollars.
Schlesinger said American officials were naive in the way they went about building the new embassy, especially in allowing the Soviets to make precast concrete elements away from the building site and without U.S. supervision. The reconstruction will take a minimum of 2.5 years, said Schlesinger, and could drag on for decades. John Sheehan, CBS News, Moscow.
And that's the world tonight, Monday, June 8th, 1987. This is Douglas Edwards, CBS News.
Hi, I'm Joe Robbins. How do you get your day started? Glass of orange juice, cup of coffee, a good long hot shower, and KLBJ AM? KLBJ AM? You bet. It's a necessary part of how to begin your day. While you're doing all the other things, KLBJ's right there with you, providing the information you need to know. The time, the temperature, the forecast, rain or shine, all the national, state, and local news. And when you leave for work, we're still right there with you in car radio, bringing you up-to-date traffic advisories. Join us for the next edition of Good Morning News.
Good Morning News, the most comprehensive news program in Austin. Every weekday morning from 5:30 to 9 on News Talk 590 KLBJ AM.
It's 6:15, time to go out to the KLBJ AM Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Bill Heckey.
Well, we have a cloudy sky, some lightweight fog around the area, and just scattered light